Hey, you guys, welcome back to FedBiz Exchange. I'm Michelle Brown, your coach and your mentor. You guys know what time it is. It's time for Ask Michelle B. Today's question is from Warren. This is my first voicemail Ask Michelle B, and I am so excited. I loved hearing Warren's voice, so you can do the same thing. Ask me anything you need to know about government contracting. Just click on the link below, send me a voicemail, and I'll send you a voicemail right back through your email. Now let's get into Warren's wonderful question.
Hey Michelle, it's Warren. I hope you're doing well. First off, I would like to thank you so much for the YouTube videos that you put out in regards to government contracting. I'm very new to the space and your videos have helped me simplify the process a lot. After a bit of research, I ended up reading a bit into the limitations on subcontracting, which states that you can't sub out 100% of a service-based contract. However, you can on certain supply-based contracts. So for instance, if the government needed some computers, I could find another business who manufactures those computers, ask them for a quote, and then submit a bid to the government with a little bit of profit on top. I wanted to know if that's a viable way of doing business with the government and what certain disadvantages could occur from doing business in that way, as well as any additional tips that you would have if I wanted to conduct business in this manner. You know, is there any certain set-asides that I should know specifically to avoid, or should I target only non-set-aside contracts? Once again, thank you so much for the content that you put out on YouTube, and I look forward to your response. Thank you.
Warren, first of all, I'm doing very well, thank you, and I really appreciate your question. As you heard, I was so excited to hear your voice. Your question is very well organized, and you asked a lot in one question in less than 90 seconds, and that's really good. I don't know if I'm going to be 90 seconds, but here goes. Number one, it is a viable business structure. You could do that very well. However, I always caution people to not think of this as like a middleman situation, because it does not have to be that way. You could literally be the prime in different areas, meaning you would set yourself up in Sam, your business, and then you might decide that you want to service different categories. You go and you find the types of businesses that you want to work with. For instance, you said you might be interested in something like computers or any other product or service. I actually do that. I have a medical company and I do pharmaceuticals, I do medical supplies. I don't make the pharmaceuticals. I just find relationships, suppliers. Mostly I work with manufacturers. So when I decided to do medical, because I do know medical, I come from pharmaceutical, but I still don't make the supplies. So I had to go out and develop those relationships with suppliers, but I am the one that has the prime position. So they don't have the prime position. I actually provide the service to the government, but I use their products. I decide what I want to sell to the government based on what the government needs. So yes, that is a viable, profitable situation, provided you negotiate your pricing well with the manufacturers or the suppliers that you're working with. If you can work directly with the maker of the product, you're going to be much more successful, which is what I do. I either create someone, meaning a business that has the ability to make something like hardware, like bolts, nuts. I go directly to that manufacturer and ask them, can you or will you make this for me, so that I can get the ultimate profit? Because I've learned that working with a lot of these other manufacturers, they nickel and dime you to death, and a lot of times it's not worth it. There's not a lot of profit. So you need to look at this as you being the prime, not that you're taking their services and selling it to the government, but more so you are the service to the government. You are the provider of the product that you want to offer the government, even though you don't make it. The government doesn't really care about that. And it's the same way with service, by the way. Yes, it is true that you cannot allow a subcontractor to do 100% of the service, but guess what? You can still be the prime and you can have a sub work under you to do the work. You have to be the management and the administration side. That's it. You're going to be the prime. You would have 51% ownership if you decided to do a teaming partnership. I don't suggest that people do that unless they have to or unless they actually know who they're working with. But in your case, if you wanted to offer a service, it's not against the law for you to do that. You can do that as well. You are just the administrator. You have them give you pricing for the service that the government needs, and you present the pricing and the entire package to the government. Okay? And as far as the set-asides go, always stay under total small business when you can, unless you're working with something that's very specialized and there are no small businesses. When you stay in the small arena as a total small business, your competition is going to be minimal and you want to win. The smaller or the less amount of or the least amount of competition you have, the easier it is for you to win. Okay, so deal with total small business mostly, no matter what products or services you're dealing with, because you're doing your homework, I can tell. So now that you've done your homework, start with a product, and a product may be easier than a service. You could start with a service too, because you can do it either way. But if a product makes you more comfortable, like computers or office supplies, do those first. Get your partners, your suppliers. I have some situations where I could use Home Depot for a certain type of product if Home Depot has the cheapest product and I can't find a small business. You could do the same thing. It's all about the pricing though. You do have to be competitive. Okay, so Warren, I hope that that answers your question and you made my day today by hearing your voice. So let me know if you have any other questions and I hope you have a great weekend.